You have not said anything. You have not raised your voice or changed your expression or done anything that should register as different. You are sitting in the same chair, in the same room, holding the same baby you hold every day. And yet, something has shifted. Your baby is fussing when 30 seconds ago they were calm. They are reaching for you with that particular urgency that feels less like a request and more like a response. Like they felt something, like they knew. Most parents have experienced this moment and filed it under coincidence or timing or just one of those unexplainable things babies do. But developmental researchers who have spent decades studying the biological conversation between infants and caregivers have a very different explanation. And what they found goes so much deeper than most people are prepared to hear. Your baby is not reading your mind, but they are reading your body with a level of precision that no adult around you is capable of matching. And they have been doing it since before they were born. Let's start with the most immediate and least known mechanism, the one that operates before your baby can even see your face clearly. In 2019, researchers at the Max Planck Institute for Human Cognitive and Brain Sciences published a study that sent a quiet shock through the field of developmental psychology. They found that infants as young as 6 weeks old could detect elevated cortisol, the primary stress hormone, in their caregivers through scent alone. Not through facial expression, not through tone of voice, through the air between you. When a caregiver's cortisol levels rise, the chemical signature of that stress is expressed through the skin within minutes, in sweat, in breath, in the invisible biological output of a body under pressure. And a baby's olfactory system, which is one of the most developed sensory systems at birth, picks it up directly, without any conscious processing on either side. You don't know you're broadcasting it. They don't know they're receiving it. But the signal travels anyway, from your biology into theirs, as reliably as a radio frequency finding its receiver. And when it lands, it does not just register as information, it activates a response. The baby's own cortisol begins to rise in synchrony with yours. Their nervous system, which has no capacity to evaluate or contextualize stress, simply mirrors it. Not because something is wrong in their immediate environment, because something is wrong in yours. And to a nervous system that is designed from birth to treat the caregiver's biological state as the most reliable signal available about the safety of the world, that is enough. That is more than enough. Now here is the second mechanism, the one that operates through touch and proximity rather than scent, your heartbeat. Research from the University of California has shown that when a caregiver holds an infant, the baby's cardiovascular system begins to synchronize with the caregiver's within minutes. Heart rate, breathing rhythm, even subtle fluctuations in blood pressure, all of these begin to entrain, with the baby's system following the caregiver's like a second instrument finding the tempo of the first. When you are calm, your heartbeat is slow and regular, and your baby's system follows it down into a state of physiological ease. When you are stressed, your heartbeat becomes faster and more variable, and your baby's system follows that too. They are not interpreting what they feel, they are becoming it. Now add the third mechanism, and the picture becomes extraordinary. Mirror neurons. In the mid-1990s, researchers at the University of Parma made an accidental discovery that would go on to reshape our understanding of how human beings relate to each other. They found a class of brain cells that fire not only when an individual performs an action, but when they observe someone else performing the same action. The brain, in other words, does not just watch, it rehearses. It simulates the emotional and physical experience of the person it is observing in real time, using the same neural circuits that would activate if the experience were happening directly. In adults, this system is moderated by the prefrontal cortex, which filters and contextualizes what we absorb from the people around us. We feel something when we watch someone in pain, but we do not become them. In babies, whose prefrontal cortex is still in the earliest stages of development, this filtering mechanism barely exists. When your baby observes your emotional state, they do not just register it from a distance, they absorb it. The stress you're carrying does not stay with you. It moves. It crosses the space between you and lands in your baby's nervous system with almost nothing to slow it down. This is not a metaphor for emotional closeness. This is a literal neurological event. Measurable, reproducible, documented in laboratory conditions across dozens of studies in the last 2 decades. Your baby knows you are stressed before you say a word because their brain was designed to know, not to protect themselves from your stress, but to use it as information about the world. Because for most of human history, the caregiver's emotional state was the most reliable signal available about whether the environment was safe. A calm caregiver meant calm surroundings. A stressed caregiver meant potential danger nearby. And a nervous system that could detect that signal early, before the danger became visible, before the threat became explicit, had a significant survival advantage. Your baby is not being dramatic. Your baby is being exactly what evolution designed them to be, extraordinarily sensitive to the one signal that matters most. Now let's talk about what this means over time. Because the occasional stressful day, the normal fluctuation of a parent navigating a difficult week, these are not the concern. The human stress response system is built to handle variation. Brief elevations in cortisol, followed by recovery, are a normal part of life and do not cause lasting harm. What researchers are more attentive to is chronic, unresolved stress in the caregiving environment, the kind that does not recover, that becomes the baseline rather than the exception. Studies tracking cortisol levels in infants raised in high-stress caregiving environments show a consistent pattern. The baby's own stress response system, shaped by the repeated signals it has been receiving, begins to calibrate toward a higher baseline. The amygdala, already tuned to detect threat, becomes more sensitive. The feedback loop that should shut down the cortisol response once the threat has passed becomes less efficient. And the developing brain, which is building its architecture around the signals it receives most consistently, builds for a world that feels more threatening than it may actually be. This is not irreversible. The brain's plasticity means that consistent, warm, regulated caregiving can reshape these patterns, even after they have begun to form. But it is a reminder of something that most parenting advice never quite says directly. Your nervous system is your baby's first environment. Not the nursery, not the neighborhood, you. So what do you do with this? Because this information, delivered without context, can feel like one more thing to feel guilty about. One more way that your bad day is somehow your baby's problem too. And that is not what this research is saying. What it is saying is something much more profound and much more compassionate than that. It is saying that the relationship between you and your baby is not one-directional. It is not a parent delivering care to a passive recipient. It is a biological conversation, ongoing, mutual, happening at a level far below conscious awareness, in which both of you are constantly sending and receiving signals that shape each other's physiology in real time. Which means that when you regulate yourself, when you slow your breath, when you step away for a moment, when you find something that genuinely settles your nervous system rather than just distracting it, you're not just taking care of yourself. You are changing the signal your baby is receiving. You are altering the chemical environment they are breathing. You are shifting the heartbeat they are synchronizing with. You are modifying the emotional state their mirror neurons are absorbing. Taking care of yourself is not separate from taking care of your baby. It is one of the most direct and powerful ways to take care of your baby that exists. The researchers who study this intersection of parental and infant neurobiology often arrive at the same conclusion from different directions. That the most important thing a caregiver can offer an infant is not any particular technique or schedule or product. It is a regulated nervous system, one that has been tended to, one that has been allowed to recover, one that is not running on empty and calling it fine. Your baby already knows when it is fine. They know before you do, and they are waiting, with every sensor they have, for the signal that says the same thing your words will eventually say, that you are okay, that the world is safe, that they can let go. If this changed something in how you think about your own stress and your baby's response to it, subscribe and leave a comment below. I want to know, have you ever noticed your baby react to something you were feeling before you had shown it? Because every parent who has experienced that moment now knows exactly what was happening.